You give me the thumbs up.
Okay.
So good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully we don't have the post-lunch nap syndrome going on. We'll try to not play into that more to make you more tired from us talking.
Well, I handed out the mints.
That's why I handed out the mints. Yeah, it's not because of breath. It's not because of bad breath. It's to keep you awake. So welcome. My name is Brian Bales, and I kind of have a unique role with Vet Corps. So you're all here for Vet Corps Connections, and I think I'm the only person in the history of Vet Corps to serve in every single role. So I started 10 years ago as a Vet Corps member, then I was a regional lead or a coordinator, then I helped run the program, and now I'm a site supervisor with the State Art Commission. So I bring a really unique perspective, and really happy to have all of you with us today. What I would love to just kind of start with a show of hands, if you're able, is who all in here is a current Vet Corps member or is getting ready to start on the 1st of September? All right. Who here is like a site manager, a site supervisor? Quite a few of those. And is there anybody in here who's not either and is just interested to learn about the program? Maybe they want to bring a site on? Yeah, there we go. I like that.
Hey, I got something for you, Brian. I'm both. I did Vet Corps for 2 years, 7 years ago.
Yes, you did.
Now life changes, and I'm a site supervisor.
What's your name?
Dave Sturgill, Ellensburg.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I remember you. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Been a long time. Okay, very cool. I love it. So what we have today is we have an awesome group of panelists. So we've got a couple of site supervisors and then a couple of Vet Corps members here. And really what we're here to do is kind of share our experiences of best practices, of worst practices, because in the 10 years that I've been involved in the program, I've done great things. I've done things where it's like, okay, that didn't work out, let's try something different, right? So really, we just want to be as informative and as honest as possible about the program, because the program is magnificent. I can tell you all, I wouldn't be standing up here today doing what I do if it wasn't for the Vet Corps program. So without further ado, I'm going to start with our introduction. I'm going to let them kind of introduce themselves. So first up, we have Dave Millay. What's your favorite Hall & Oates song?
Sarah Smile.
That's a good one. All right, you can introduce
You gotta
yourself.
be with the right person when you play that.
That's true. And we have Rosa Liu. And Dave's at Eastern Washington. He's site supervisor at Eastern Washington. We have Rosa Liu from University of Washington, Bothell. What's your favorite Hall & Oates song?
You make my dreams come true.
Classic. And then we have Gabby Smith, who is at Ars Washington, actually my Vet Corps member. What's your favorite Hall & Oates song?
Mine was actually also Sarah Smile,
Yes.
so
Okay.
I'll go with that.
Perfect. And then we have Tim Gunzel, who is at Clover Park. What's your favorite Hall & Oates song?
Sarah Smile's fine.
Okay.
It's a great one.
Mine's Maneater, in case anyone wants. Yeah. So I'll let you guys, starting with Dave, just kind of, you can give a better introduction of yourself and your experience and everything like that.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm Dave Millay. I'm the director of the Veterans Resource Center at Eastern Washington University in Cheney/Spokane. So I've been a site supervisor. We've had Vet Corps members on our campus since 2011, pretty much every year. I think the first COVID year we did. So yeah, we've had great experience with Vet Corps on our campus, and so I'll talk about my perspectives as a site supervisor, the good and bad, and pros and cons of having a Vet Corps member.
I'm Rosa Liu, and I am Director of Veteran Services and Disability Resources for Students at UW Bothell. And gosh, I was trying to think about how long I've been with Vet Corps, ever.
As long as I can remember.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I've had, quite a few Vet Corps members throughout the years, and I agree, it's a great resource to have on campus for veterans. And as Brian said, I mean, some things worked and some things didn't, and but when I think of a Vet Corps member, I think of all the potential that role brings to the campus, all the things that are possible. Can't possibly do everything, but gosh, the things that could be done as a resource for the vets is astronomical. So happy and grateful to still be part of this program.
Hi, I'm Gabby Smith. This is my second year in the Vet Corps, and I was a part of the first initiative during your first year?
Name's Tim Gull with Local Park Technical College. This is my 4th year. VetCorps is a great experience. As the sites actually allow the VetCorps members the autonomy to go out and do what they're supposed to do, because there's so much potential in the entire program. Hopefully I can answer any questions that any individuals might have.
All right, so there's our group, and so I know Dave has got a list of discussion things that the group are going to talk to you guys about. So I'm going to hand it over to Dave, and then I'll interject in, with my experience and everything like that as we go along.
Yeah, thanks. So what we decided to do is, first of all, these slides are just going to scroll behind us throughout this. I think we got way too many PowerPoints this morning that I couldn't read. So these are photos from all of our sites of our VetCorps members just doing great things. So anyway, that's going to just be hanging out behind us, so no bullet points on that. So I just wanted to start out, and Rose and I are going to kind of move back and forth on some of our perspectives. Feel free to interject, ask a question, any of us, keep it informal. So the first point, as a site supervisor, I want to bring up is those who raise their hand and say, I'm a site manager now, or I'm thinking about it, or what's VetCorps going to do for me, or what can it do for me? I think the first thing you really need to ask yourself as a site manager, if you take this on, or as a current VetCorps member, is you really got to make sure that the position is a good fit for your organization. Don't think of a VetCorps member as just a warm body to answer your phone, work the front desk, whatever. I'm on a campus, work the front desk. They're not there to do, certifying GI Bill paperwork. They're not a work study student. So you've got to really be clear on, if you get the application for a VetCorps member, what does your organization need? Okay. I just see it from the lens of higher ed, but what does your organization, your institution need with a VetCorps member?
Hey Dave, I think I should. One thing I didn't do was really explain what VetCorps was.
Well, no, because you were singing Hall and Oates earlier.
I was singing Hall and Oates earlier, but so what VetCorps is it's an AmeriCorps program, right? And it's run through the Washington State Department of Veteran Affairs, where they have an AmeriCorps grant that funds 50 members across the state of Washington, and their role is to serve as peer mentors, not only at your site or your campus, but as well as in your community. And there are pretty strict guidelines of things that they can and cannot do. And in their contract, it's we've had sites in the past who think of them as employees, but they're not employees. They're not employees of your site. There's a non-displacement act where you can't fire an employee and bring on a VetCorps member to do the work of that employee, right? They're an augment of services.
Yeah, great point. And so when you as a site manager think you want to take a VetCorps navigator on, you fill in an intake sheet. Way too many pages, but you fill in an intake sheet, and you just got to really sit back as a manager and realize when you do this intake sheet what you're going to provide, what they can provide. So you got to ask yourself as a supervisor, you're going to take on added responsibilities. It's going to take some of your time. It's going to take your organization's resources, whether it be a desk, a phone, a space. I've heard just stories of VetCorps members who were just told to hang out in the hallway on campuses, and if we need you, the veteran will come find you. So if you're thinking about VetCorps from an institutional perspective, you really got to do a deep analysis of how am I going to support this person on my campus, both with physical resources and then as a supervisor with your own time, because it's another person that needs support from you. It's going to take your time to supervise them. You're going to have to sit and have meetings with them to kind of do some long-term planning that we'll talk about. So it's not again, as Brian said, and again, this is very rare, but it's not just a person to come in and be a warm body to push work onto. So if you already are a site supervisor, I'd love to hear what your perspectives on that. And if you're interested about VetCorps, and you think your organization wants to take one on, you've just got to really realize the amount of, not just physical resources, it is a cost, $3,000 still?
$3,000.
It is a cost to your organization, but just your time and the resources within your space. And then you also have to be clear, if your bosses understand what this person is in your organization, how do you articulate their role on your campus or in your organization? Who are they? What do they do? Where did they come from? No, our HR doesn't know about them. They don't work for Eastern Washington University. I have no, it's like a dash line in the military. I have no direct line to this person. It's more of a dash line. And then if you are a prospective site manager, if you're a current one, I'd be interested just to hear also the hiring process. Because just from my lens, I think sometimes it's hard to fill these positions. Again, don't take a VetCorps member on just because you want a person, a body. I've been fortunate to be very fortunate to have some good VetCorps members. Be quite honest with you, 99% of them were either Eastern graduates, Eastern graduate students, or former Eastern students, or one of the above. So I have the good fortune of leveraging our alumni, our veteran alumni, and our grad students. I usually don't bring on a new freshman veteran as a VetCorps member. I don't think it wouldn't be fair to anybody, any of us. But you got to make sure as you're interviewing and reading this kind of the standard resume, that person is a good fit for both you and your organization. And if you don't find a good fit, I've been quite frank with Brian and others that I'm not going to take a VetCorps member on just because I've had one in the past. And there were a couple of times we were this close to not having one, and then something clicked with another person who interviewed, and it worked well. And then just be mindful, like I said, of the cost to your organization. When WDBA and AmeriCorps initially didn't cost the institution anything, and they kept raising the money. I had to go to my boss and said, we want to commit $3,000 out of my budget, and in my little budget, that's impactful. We had to just be very deliberate about that line in our budget, and we marked it as a permanent line in our budget for the out years. That there's a $3,000. Are you going to raise the price?
I don't work for that anymore. I don't know.
So we're going to raise the price. So I've got a permanent $3,000 line in my budget for that's earmarked VetCorps. So it's there now. It took a while to convince people to do that. So those are my initial thoughts. Is those site supervisors are thinking you want to take on a VetCorps member, what you need to think about before you sign on the dotted line and bring a person on. So any site managers out there, any comments or questions about that? Piece of this? Yes.
I worked with Brian before.
Sorry about that.
My name's Trent. I work for Chelan County Veteran Service Office, and right now we have 2 VetCorps navigators coming into our office. I would say, and I did the VetCorps program, I would say a lot of it's paid volunteer.
Yeah.
He's a volunteer to your office. Get them to do what you need them to do. Now, I would say in the school district, in schools, I did WBC as well, and as a Chelan County Veteran Service too. There's breakdowns, right? In our office, we like a lot of community relations, so we like the VetCorps navigator to go meet resources, to go plan different types of things, have us come to our meetings and different types of things, so we can meet veterans, and that's the main part. As a vet navigator, you go and talk to the veterans, you get those veterans into your perspective to your area. For us, it's for claims of disability and stuff like that. So I would say being a vet navigator is becoming a part of the community and being part of the resource. That's probably the biggest piece of it. That's
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why I've been, and then I'll pass it off to Rose. That's why I've been deliberate about hiring Eastern students and Eastern alum, because they're already part of the community. They get higher ed, they get the politics of campus.
They know where things are.
They know where things are. Actually, one year we hired Steve, who came from Whitworth, but anyway, he had a higher ed background. So yeah, I agree with your comment. You know, they want to be part of your community. So that I'm not lazy, but it makes it easier for me, a VetCorps member that knows us already, So it's less time I got to spend onboarding them. Did somebody else have?
Yeah, just, I mean, traditional AmeriCorps are usually, what, about 10-month program? Is that
Yep.
what this is
So it's
as well?
10 months, 1,700 hours. Yep, absolutely. And then they get paid a living stipend of, it's around $1,600 a month, and then a $6,400 education award upon completion of the 10-month, 1,700-hour service year. Yes, sir.
What are the requirements for becoming a Vet Corps member?
To be becoming a member.
Yeah.
So their recruitment is every year, usually in the springtime. They open it up for recruitment. Requirements is over 18. We prefer, or Vet Corps prefers a military or veteran or some sort of veteran affiliation background, so that way you understand the population that you're going to be serving, that you're going to be that you're going to be helping, and then subject to background checks through AmeriCorps does their own background checks. So those things clear, and the site receives the application, and then they call you up and come in and do an interview, and if they feel like you're a good fit, that's it. Hold on,
And you have to be a U.S. citizen.
Oh yes, U.S. citizen, or you have to have a green card and be able to provide that documentation. Yeah. Hold on, I got a question here, and then I got you.
Okay, I am a CBSR for WorkSource Wenatchee, and the previous vet rep was the site manager, and so he had Vet Corps individuals in their office. So if I want to be a site manager, would I have to pay the $3,000 again, or is it a one-time fee?
So it's a yearly fee. It's a yearly fee, and that fee goes to pay for their training. So like we pay for, or not we, because I was at DBA for 5 years, and I left a month ago, and now at Arts Law. So sometimes I say we, and I don't mean to, but DBA pays for all of the training for the members and their travel and everything like that, and so that's what that cost is meant to offset for us, for them.
And that's why I'll add, if whoever your budget person is, like if you could get that earmark, if you want Vet Corps, get it earmarked as a budget line every year. And once I did that, it just rolls over as a budget line for me. If I don't bring on a member, then I just got the $3,000 and it rolls over. I got it in my budget line once they started asking me to pay.
Yeah. I think is there someone else up here? Or or over here. I think you were next. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So I was curious, so are military spouses allowed to
Oh,
apply?
absolutely. I have one.
And children of
Yep.
service members? Because since they're
Yeah.
9/11 can only go through so far,
Yeah. Absolutely.
then they can apply? Okay.
Absolutely. Anyone can apply.
I just wanted to make sure
you
that
don't-
was inclusive in
you
the
don't
veteran
have to be a
affiliate.
veteran to serve.
Okay.
It's preferred that you're either a veteran or affiliated with veteran.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, all of mine have been veterans, and I've had two that were spouses.
Isn't there another one over here?
I was going to say spouses have served and done a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's already been covered, so.
Yeah. Hi, Rosa.
I'm up. So Dave spoke about supervisors and what you should all expect if you're going to be a supervisor or want to be a supervisor. I'm going to speak mostly to the people in the room who are Vet Corps members of the past and current or new, okay, who are just going to be starting September 1.
Yeah, do we have first years in the room? First year Vet Corps members in the room?
There you go.
Hey.
All of you.
I love it.
Okay. I'm going to say, for me, full disclosure, I am an office of one. I am the only person in Veteran Services at my campus, and I have been for almost 30 years. I'm the school certifying official. Every single quarter, I certified, it used to be by hand, back in the day, paper, triplicate. I certify a little over 200 vets and family members per quarter, okay? Later on down the line, it became pretty obvious that, okay, we needed more. I needed to do more than just certifying enrollment to the VA. I needed to create, some programming and some resources and stuff for, vets who were transitioning from service back into civilian life, and, so it became bigger, just like that, right? I'm a person, office of one. So, since then, in 2011, our student vets got together and they created their Student Veterans Association. But then I also got involved with the Vet Corps program, and that was just like a godsend, because it's true for me. They had work that they had to do, they had projects they had to complete. I had programming that I needed, and I needed help doing it, so it was a win-win. So this person is really a resource for you, not to be sitting in an office, your vet center, and I certainly have a vet center too, and yeah, that person will likely be there, but to help the vets who are in the vet center, right, and to answer some questions. And much like you said earlier, it is really, really important that you introduce, or that you get introduced to the resources on campus, and I'm talking the Career Center, Health and Wellness, if you have something like that, mental health counseling, but also the academic programs.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe the deans as an introduction, but then, figure out who would be designated to work with you on things within the program. These days, I'm going to say a large portion of veterans are in STEM. So those are the programs to connect with for sure, okay? Just some other things on my list here. Please do check in on a regular basis with your site supervisor, and I mean have weekly check-ins with them, 30 minutes, just to share what's going on, what have you been doing, what are some challenges that you're facing. I can't say enough, communication is key. Yeah, I tend to be an over-communicator, some people need to know that, but I'd rather over-communicate than under-communicate, because if you don't just say it, it's going to get lost and you're going to wish that you had said something. Get together with your site supervisor and or the vets that you connected with on project and programming ideas. Every, facility, whether it be higher ed or whatever, even between two higher ed institutions, we're different, and we have different needs, different resources. Connect with the people that you're going to be working with on what they need, and that might help inform what kind of projects you put together. Okay, so use us as your sounding board, a source of information. I think you put this in, right?
I did, John.
I understood you. Create a living document or an MOU, as the case would be, of prospective quarterly projects and activities. That would help, inform the members who come up after you as to what's been done, and also things that they might want to continue doing or tweak a little bit depending on the needs of the institution. Okay. File all planning events, documents, flyers, everything on a shared drive to better communicate to the person who might follow you. And it also, again, helps to keep a historical record of things and activities that you've done. Learn and understand processes and procedures of the site when planning events. Like I said, every place is different. Okay. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, for the first year members in the room, for the first time sites in the room, projects and events are such a huge part of what the Vet Corps program does, and they just have the opportunity to be such amazing things that can be done on the campus. So AmeriCorps, as part of the grant requirement, they require every member has to do 3 service projects a year, and those 3 projects, so they've specified now that the days that they need to be on, it's Veterans Day, MLK, and then Memorial Day. But you'll find often enough that, for sites, if you empower your Vet Corps members to just say, hey, what do you want to do? Make it and do what you can to help them make that happen. They'll do way more than 3 service projects on your campus. Like I've known sites that have done double, triple, 10, 12, 15 projects in a 10-month period. That is nothing but great things that can come to your campus. So really think about that. Asking your members, like, what do you want to accomplish? What are your goals and interests, and how can we support that to make a project? Because project can be so many different things. It's not, a lot of projects are, bringing people together for a presentation or a talk. But I mean, I've seen people. I won't talk about Gabby's project because I'm sure she'll talk about it. But people have done like military appreciation night at sporting events, or I've seen someone did a Magic the Gathering card tournament or a game night or whatever it might be to build and foster that community, that veteran and veteran supportive community on your campus or at your sites. The more that you can do to empower those members to do that, the better response you're going to get, not only from your members, but from the community in general. So that's that.
I'm sorry. And all these photos up here are pretty much projects from our campuses or art. So that's why we just didn't put a bunch of words up here. So that's exactly what Brian's on.
Well, and you were mentioning about community. So, as a VetCorps member, yes, you are there to help be a resource for the veterans at that facility. The other piece of it is working with the community, most of whom have no idea about what veteran needs are, right? They need a little education, a little learning, and that is the other purpose. So by educating them, you are also helping the veterans that are on that campus, right? Absolutely, and that's why I said, get connected with the academic programs, get connected with the resources over there, because
But yeah, as fully inclusive coming on. That's the best advice I can get out of all of that. Don't shy anybody away. One major deterrent for a lot of individuals who had toxic leadership during their time in service. So remove that mental barrier and make it a more inclusive center for everybody. But like I tell a lot of my veterans, we don't transition properly without the help of our civilian counterparts. And maintaining that mindset and inviting non-veterans into our resource center, we build up that cohesive group with the rest of the campus and our community.
Right. I just wanted to, I really wanted to, something you said really clicked with me about, the way you decorate a space and paraphernalia that you have up in there. And, some people might listen to that and take that as, well, what do you mean? I can't have any sort of like military affiliated things in my veterans center? Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that. I think, so for example, this was years ago. I was working with a site who was opening up a campus who was opening up a veterans center, and everything that they had on their wall was all a bunch of white dudes in camo in the desert, like on tanks and stuff, right? And that's not necessarily, no one's saying that that's a bad thing and you can't have those up there, but that's not necessarily representative of everybody. If you're going to have, that paraphernalia, those signs, those posters up, you want to make it as inclusive as possible in order to attract as many veterans in there, as many people in there as you can, because the 5 folks, or the 5, 10, 15, however many folks that come in there on a regular basis, they're coming in there regardless, right? So this was a conversation I had with the site. I said, you've got these 15 people who are going to come in here no matter what you do, but you're missing the other 300 that don't want to come in here. And so you need to ask yourself, why? Why is that? Like, let's take a look at this and figure out how can we reach the rest of the population, right? And so those are just some things that you want to think about as you set up your workspace, as you look at your workspaces of different ways that you can expand and grow and things like that. Yeah, Eric.
So one of the things that PLU did when I was at the time called the Navigator at their location was they engaged with the student veteran community to actually help decorate the office space that's there. So if you ever go there, you're going to see patches, name patches, service patches, unit patches. That's a great way to get the space decorated in an inclusive way, because there's nothing attached to it except for the service, the location, right, or the branch. So be creative and engage with your student veteran community, and have them bring the things that they think are important to them, and maybe use that as a template for you to make the space more inclusive.
Love that. Yeah.
Well, this is turning into interior decorating for veterans, but a strategy that's worked for us is in our coalition we have a white wall about that size, and I put maps of Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan up there, and people started bringing things in and putting them on the maps. They brought in pictures, whatever they want to do. They brought in Vietnamese money and taped it up there. Brought in surrender leaflets from the 1991 war. And it's very slowly becoming almost a museum piece of our local community veterans, not only honoring them, but allowing them a way to express things that maybe they haven't been able to express. Also, if you put a nice little valance, a fabric cover, maybe off-white light. No, I'm just kidding. There's a way to do it inclusively, and that's what the last
What
four
would
people have been
Joanne
saying.
do, essentially, right?
Also for you veteran members, make sure you get out of the office. Yes. Don't just stay in your chairs, stay in the office, get out and about. Go visit the rest of campus. Make those connections with the instructors. Go pay classroom visits. Get little seminars or briefings, whatever you want to call them, to your college success classes, to the new students on campus. Invite all the new veterans, spouses, dependents, and talk to them. Even if you have just a full class of new students coming in, veteran, non-veterans, talk to them. Guaranteed there's about a 1-2 relation, or 2 apart from knowing a veteran. So they can reach out to that veteran and push it towards generations. Host yourself a cookout, bring veterans in. Cookout's my thing. I always do. Last time I did it, about 700 individuals showed up. I got pretty good turnout. Pretty good.
And one of the things that Tim does really well is Tim doesn't turn anybody away. He doesn't care if you're a veteran showing up. It's for anybody and everybody.
I serve the entire community.
Yeah.
I truly do not turn anybody away. Because I guarantee within that community, they know of a veteran, a spouse, or dependent who needs assistance. It's the only way it is. And to build that relationship with our communities, we need to look at that aspect.
Something I'll say to that is the first year I did it, I was really worried about the numbers because I was a first year site and I didn't know if I was going to make 700 numbers. Amazing. But being a first site, yeah, I didn't know if I was going to reach that. But I'll tell you that long-term relationships are the most important, I feel, in my opinion. I have made perhaps 20 really good relationships my first year, and that was all. But that was still extremely important because those are the same people that I'm going to continue to work with the second year and who are going to further my connections to other veterans and other veteran service organizations. So making those long-term rounds over and over again with those same veterans, it's important because it builds the trust with them. Sometimes they don't see that by just going once or twice. You need to continuously be there for them and say, I'm right there with you, don't go away. So don't be afraid if you have maybe four people your first month, okay? It's okay, as long as it's those 4 people that are important.
Yeah, that report is a crucial aspect.
Yeah.
Especially on the college campuses.
Well, what report? I was just going to, as a site manager, I could care less about that report. I don't have any clue what the vet corps members have to report up their chain of command. I don't know what the reporting requirements are. I think they told me once and I don't care. Seriously, I mean, that's not my job. But if I do my job right and they do their job right, that'll naturally occur.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I'm clueless of, I know they got to go in, and I always complain about the Excel spreadsheet or I hear them complain a lot about stuff. But then also tracking contacts and stuff. And I said, I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. Here's a student, let's help them and just drive on. And so as a site manager, my advice is get over that and don't even care about it. It's not your job. It's your job to make that Corps member successful. And the hell with the numbers.
And you would be surprised at, or maybe you wouldn't, about the things that Corps members go on to do in their careers and within their communities. I mean, there are Corps members who are, who have been deans of college institutions, who are serving in public office, who have, there are a lot of veterans who, former Corps members who were hired on by their campus, and so there's so many different things, the reach that the Corps program can have for not just you as site supervisors, but you as members. I mean, it's going to open so many different doors for you going down the line. Yeah, Trent, you had a comment, and
I was
then.
going to say something.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say too, like as a first year people, it's amazing too. When we talk about like getting into the community and stuff like that and the reach, it comes out naturally.
Yeah.
When you're a Corps navigator, you're in the Safeway line. And the bagger's a veteran, and you notice it, you just say, hey, I'm a veteran. You would never do it before, because most of us veterans are all really just kind of sheltered and don't want to do it. But as a Corps navigator, it's amazing how many people even if you're like wearing a WDVA shirt and doing something, and someone goes, oh, you're a veteran too, and then you explain you're a Corps navigator, and then it just comes out naturally. And then the resources are built from that, and then the community relations are built from that, and your offices are helped from that, and then it's just amazing the contacts that you'll be seeing every time you just do it. And I think that's one of the biggest things too, as like a first year or second year or something like that, is it just comes, it's that natural.
All about the connections that you make and the relationships that you build. Because you can build a relationship with somebody, with a veteran or a veteran family member, just on grabbing a cup of coffee and talking about life, or maybe you guys are into gaming and you're playing a game together in the vet center, and then as you get to know that person, then they trust you more. Then they open up about having some financial struggles, and then you're that person who can get them connected to what they need, right? And so it's all built off of that relationship building. But actually, I have a question I want to ask the panel, if that's okay with everybody, because I want to segue back to. I know some of the biggest questions that we always get, in my time in Vet Corps, not just as a member, but in all the years that I've been involved in the program, I always get the most questions about service projects, about what are they, how do I put them on, how do I do them, and then from sites like, how do we support this person, and all these different things. So I want to ask. I'll start with the members, and then I'll ask the site leads, the site supervisors here. But what project did you learn the most from? Doesn't necessarily have to be the most successful project, but what one did you learn the most from?
I would say more likely my clothing thing.
Okay.
So the whole logistical nightmare turned out to be.
Yeah.
As well as the influx of veteran students, as well as veteran community members, and full accountability, organization, and just the whole aspect of the entire thing. It turned out to be a lot.
Yeah.
The logistics of moving all the clothing in one location, inventorying, putting the information out there to the students, and then figuring out how to redirect all that information out to the community members themselves, and what organizations might best from it, and then linking up with those directors or manager individuals, and ensuring the information was put out correctly to them, and not just to everybody. Being able to filter those individuals coming in and verify they are the veteran, the spouse, dependent, and they are in a financial need, they need those items at this point. That was probably the hardest one so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go off of that. I would say actually the Lacey VetCon was the most valuable because, again, it wasn't up my alley. I hadn't known a lot about the culture of comic book conventions themselves. And so putting it on and coordinating it myself as being the one person at my site to run the whole thing, I had to learn very quickly about logistics and administration for the actual convention, how to actually just promote the event in person, how much it was going to cost for the food, how to get other organizations to fund the food. It was a lot, but it was really valuable because the Vet Corps was right there with me and was like, hey, if it comes out a shit show, it's okay. You know, it's
I think we had that conversation.
yeah, yeah, that exact conversation where you're like, it's okay. This is your first year, and you're gonna do your best. Like that's what you're there for. And I did. Of course, being a Type A person, I hands down just worked my butt off and made it happen. And there were some really interesting things that happened. There was a service horse that came to it, a service pony that walked up the stairs, and I had to figure out, all right, let's work with this. And it was great. All the kids loved it. But, you know, in my head, I was like, what's going to happen? Is anything bad going to happen? But nothing did. And, you know, I had some ups and downs about it, and I had a lot of good advice as to how I can just make it better next year. So I'm really thankful that all of the veterans that came out to that event were just trusting of me to run the event. And I had a lot of veterans say, I'll come back next year. You know, I know it's going to be better than this, and you did a great first time. And it was the veterans that I was just wanting to provide something for them. And they're just thankful that I made something like that for them, because it was never there before in the first place. So, yeah, that was my most valuable.
Rosa?
I don't know if there's any one particular project, but I will